I have the feeling sometimes that the digital twin is the new cool, like BIM was maybe 10 years ago in the industry. And everyone has to speak about digital twin today to be up to speed, you know. And in many papers and presentations I've seen is that sometimes you have a lot of very high level presentation around digital twin, but no one really knows what it is. So to give you a quick presentation, and we have developed some concepts in Arcadis too. I see BIM as being, you know, you have that's BIM is still and it's not dynamic, it's like static. And the digital twin concept brings a dynamic layer on top of what you had in BIM. And again, BIM is not the only foundation for digital twin. It could be a GIS platform, it could be any other database type of model. As long as you have a database and object-oriented models, you have a foundation for what could be a digital twin. And then you add a layer of a dynamic, you know, data that will come from your physical asset, and that's why we speak about digital twin. And so that's why we have that combination of that object-oriented model plus some IoT technologies sometimes, and then you will have a digital twin. But that digital twin without any specific use case is completely useless. And I think that many people are completely forgetting the user experience part of the digital twin. You can have the best digital tool you want. If you don't know how to access it, and if you don't know what you're going to get as insights from it, no one is going to use it. Okay, so that's very important to bring the end user back into the center and to think about what we want to achieve. Sometimes I see some companies developing some super complex digital twins where in fact maybe just a BIM model with a synchronization on a daily basis from data coming from some external sources would have been enough, you know. And maybe that's not a digital twin, but that's enough, and that meets your clients, your users' needs. So sometimes I think that's important to take one step back to say and to ask ourselves, okay, what do we want to achieve? Being said, I think that digital twin and being able to bring a lot of data sources in one place will play a big role in the future, especially for operation and maintenance. And we start to have some use cases where, yeah, we try to enhance our BIM models with this type of approaches. But I will say that we are not there yet. We have some first proof of concepts which are really interesting, popping up all around in the world, and not just within Arcadis, but within the entire industry, which is great. But there are still a lot of things to figure out in terms of technology, in terms of cloud-based data management. How do we do that? And I will say in terms of people, because what I see is that people able to create such platforms are still very rare within the industry. And I do not feel that the construction industry is great at attracting programmers and people with highly skilled in coding and programming. And I think the construction industry will miss that quite shortly. So my advice to you, if you like coding, you should think of the construction industry, because I think there will be a lot of job opportunities in the future around programming and coding, and maybe more than just basic engineer like me, because that's really what the construction industry needs today and what we need to move forward in the digital era.
Absolutely, and in a second we will talk about advice from Francois about the career in BIM and what advices he can give, because most probably, as I said, he receives so many CVs and so many introduces so many different colleagues and different stakeholders. But before that, you really nailed it. I mean, you really mentioned good points. You first said, about the programmers and the construction industry, and yeah, we are really missing AI, artificial intelligence, in our industry. We are still doing the same thing that we are doing, and slowly started changing to, like you saw that huge shift to Revit, and people are having a difficult to adopt. And if we have more like tools like Revit with AI, artificial intelligence, and more adaptation period, would be much more faster, because people doesn't have to, so much really become expert in a tool, but rather, derive just the logic and methodology into the tool. And another thing that you mentioned as well when you were saying about the digital twins, you mentioned that maybe some data or some information they create will not be really useful, and that is true, because you need to focus from different point of view before you even start anything, even BIM. Think about what value are you looking forward to get from here? What value it will give it to you? Critically ask this question to yourself. Criticize every single bit on your outcomes in order to be realistic. So you cannot be just Pollyanna and say, yeah, I will get everything from the BIM. Rather, really understand the value-driven approach and try to focus on the value. Then you will focus your energy bringing the most return on investment. If you like this video and more videos like this, subscribe to our channel because there will be many more. And don't forget to turn the notification bell on.